Hey, what's up, family? Steve Rochelle, Greg Milokovic, A2D Radio. You're back for another episode of the weekly Roundup. We got another fun one lined up for you guys. Going to be talking some Sixers, going to be talking some Flyers, going to be breaking down the Islanders series, talking these Phillies transactions. We're going to be joined by UFC Lightweight Vinc Pitchel. So we got a lot of things going for you, but first and foremost, let's get to our sponsor post here, and we are brought to you here by our doc, make 'em yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington Hill, Cherry, Princeton location. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. So let's kind of get into the things that are going on here, man, and I guess we'll get into the poll question, try to kick it off there, and let's get into that. Brought to you by our Ambuck services. That's AMBUCK services.com. Call Michael Ambrose. Tell him A2D sent you 20% off gutter guards. Anything around your house got you covered. AmbuckServices.com. And that poll question we got here for you is: will Brett Brown be our coach going into next season? Agree? Disagree? Big Daddy G, what you got, man? What are you saying? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Up until the recent series, I thought that the Ben Simmons injury would give him another, at least, start of the season, right? It just goes to flow with everything that we've seen from the Sixers recently, right? The last couple of years. And it was just another excuse to get Brett off the hook for what was really going on. Mm-hmm. But then you actually watch the games in the playoffs without Ben. And you see that there's a lack of heart, there's a lack of energy, there's a lack of effort at times. And that is resulting of the coach. So no, I disagree to the poll, or what it was. He will be gone, or he won't be.
He will not.
He will not. So I agree to the poll. He will not be gone. What up, Don? He will not be here next year. We will move on and hopefully get somebody in here that can use Ben and Joe at their strengths, and to that matter, Toby and Al as well, because they're all going to be here. Based off of the money, they're all going to be here. No one's taking Al Horford off of our hands at that money.
Yeah, you're going to have to. Yeah, and I absolutely agree with the poll here. Absolutely, I was with you. I kind of felt like between COVID, the injury, kind of giving him another year, especially with, I think he still has one more year left on the contract as it is anyways.
Yeah,
there's no way at this point in time. There's no, Boston Celtics aside, you go down 3-0 to this team. No way. There's absolutely no way. I don't care if they win one game, 2 games, make it look interesting. Whatever happens moving forward, he cannot. It was an abysmal coaching performance. It was an abysmal performance by more than let's say 5 or 6 players on that roster. It was abysmal. Tobias Harris is the crook right now. And Joel Embiid, or not Joel Embiid, our management, as much as everyone loved the fact that we brought it EB back here, he's enabled this. You let I know a lot of the guys here love Jimmy Butler. A lot of guys hate him. You let that man walk out the door. You signed Tobias Harris. You should have shipped him out of here with Boban, because it looks like he's having some serious issues missing the Bobby and Toby show. Something's going on with him. I don't know. I know Big Tom was very upset with him, calling him sharp and soft and everything. And you can't really dispute the fact at this point in time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
Al Horford is the shade of the person he was 2 years ago. He's the shade of the person he was last year. He's regressed to the point where you're absolutely right. There's nothing you can do but just sit on that. No one's going to take it. You can't package him with nothing. There's nothing you can do with it. And you're almost at the same point down with Tobias. Mm-hmm. And that's the worst part about it, because that's what I was trying to come to you with the week before when we were talking about you're going to have to break one of these guys up between Ben and Joe because those are the only two you can move because no one's going to want those other guys. It's going to be in a really rough situation, and no, those two don't deserve that. That's the worst part about it.
No, you're right on that. And Frank, I'm trying to smile, man, but that's those Sixers and those Phillies last night. Man, that was brutal to watch the time.
Oh, man, it's brutal to be a Philadelphia fan at this point in time, with the exception of our fly guys, and we're going to get to him in a minute.
Look at this. Last Tobias's last 10 games in the playoffs, going back to last season, 14-9, 13-16, 15-16, 15. And then this year, 15-13, 15 to a guy making a buttload of money is completely unacceptable. And if you look at some of these shooting performances, 3 for 11, 7 for 23, 4 for 15. Like, you can't have that when you're a max guy.
It's making me sick to my stomach as you tell me this. It is. I mean, it's disheartening because a lot of us had a lot of high hopes for this team. We flat out said that Eastern Conference Finals or bust. And it doesn't even look like they're going to get out of the starting gate.
And as it should have been because of this team, the way you thought it was constructed, right? I mean, to your point, yeah, you let Jimmy go, but you can even go back and we didn't even necessarily need Jimmy, right? That was Elton doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like Elton traded for Jimmy Butler. Elton traded for Tobias Harris.
You trade Fultz away for freaking an ice cream cone.
No, that's what I'm saying. Absolutely. Like all of those things, while I get why you did them, didn't necessarily need to happen.
I mean, yeah, you could do that, but what are you going to get in return for that? For that Prism?
You're going to have to take it.
You give him one of our unprotected first and Al Horford. You're really not going to get a wing or somebody to make a difference on this team.
The problem was with trades in the NBA, the money has to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so who you gonna match him with?
You can't just dump. So you got to take, like, for example, I mean, who knows if they even do it, but like a Kevin Love, for example, is somebody that you could probably just swap and just hope Kevin Love gives you more than Al Horford did because their money's the same, and I'm sure Cleveland would like to get out from that. But who knows if they even want Al Horford at this point?
I mean, where you got to look at it is like, who do you think is on this roster next season?
Well, I know 4 guys that probably will be. Those are the 4 guys that are getting paid. You know what I mean?
Bias.
I mean, we know who's going to be on the roster because you can go up and look at who's signed through, at least next year.
So with those guys in mind, like who would you look outside of the Mark Jacksons and Tyronn Lues of the world? Like, who would you like to see?
I think they both stink.
Huh?
I think those guys both stink. Like, I don't want
those are the names that everyone throws out. So I said, let's get outside of that. Let's get outside of that. Who would you like to see come in and try to take this team and get them over the hump and get them back to where their talent level on the roster says they should be?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a bunch of guys, and the problem is with the NBA, there's never that. There's very few new chances, right? It's just a retread league, right? So that's where, but to your point, that's where you hear Tyronn Lue. That's where you hear Mark Jackson, right? It's where you hear Jason Kidd, Stan Van Gundy. You know what I mean? That's where you hear all these names. A couple other names. You could throw in Jay Wright.
Why am I Jay Wright, man?
Jay Wright. Yeah, and who knows? I
just seen it come across on there. Grab that Jay Wright. It has to be Jay Wright.
If I'm Jay Wright in a normal world, I don't leave Villanova because why? Right? Why would I leave Villanova to go to the NBA?
Yeah, but this is kind of
we don't know what's going on with college basketball and college sports in general. So this might be the perfect time to make the jump.
I think in a normal situation, you're right. Jay Wright doesn't consider it in a normal world, but not in normal times right now, and that's why I kind of brought it up, and I just seen it come there across the chat room that they're intrigued by Jay Wright. I would like to see that, just because it's not even a rebuild; it's a retool. All he has to do is move a few pieces around to get something to work and get these guys to buy into what he does. And I mean, You just have anything's better than the retread nonsense that we keep getting shoved down our throats.
And what position on this team is outside of one single player is the worst position on this roster? It's your guard position, right?
Yeah, you need.
And what is one position that Jay Wright has proven that he can coach up?
Out there. It's kind of why I'm throwing that out there. One, he
can coach up. He can coach up guards. You see that at Villanova, right? I mean, he is one of the best pure coaches in the country on the college level because of what he has to work with sometimes at Villanova, because of the academic requirements to get in, because of the money requirements to get in sometimes. You know, he doesn't always get these 5-star recruits, these one and dones. So he's got to build a legit program, and he does that because he knows guards win in March. And that's why he's been so successful, because he's always had good guards, which, you know, when you look at this Sixer roster, when you have Ben, when you have Shake, when you have Ben and Shake, because that's really all we have, you know what I mean? You're able to allow him to hopefully build that up. Another guy I do like is Jason Kidd, because I think Jason Kidd relates to Ben Simmons in a sense of he's a great passer. He didn't have a shot coming out of college, but by the end of his career, because he was a Hall of Famer, he learned and was a willing shooter. So you would hope that type of,
that they brought in,
Yep, exactly.
And it's just a thing. I think even if we move on from Brett, like I still think you can kind of keep him involved in a way because whatever. Because you know how front office that does with these situations that they do, they keep guys around. I'm saying like how the Eagles do, and I feel that the Sixers kind of have that same thing to them. I hope they don't, but I kind of see something like that happening. Yeah. But anyways, let's kind of move on to some more positive things as we got our little venom out of it, and we're going to move on to the Flyers, who were successful in dispatching of the Montreal Canadiens last night, and they move on. We're gonna be touching on to the Islander series in a few minutes, but Greg, what are your thoughts on the Canadian series, and what are some of your kind of your positive takeaways and some things that are concerning you that are going to be moving into this next series?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this series was exactly what it was. You know what I mean? I think I don't think I ever gave a true a true prediction going into the series, but I probably would have said 5 or 6 games because Montreal is a tough.
Yeah, because they're a great team. They were one of these teams that took advantage of the bubble situation and pushed themselves into the playoff situation because they weren't really looking like it. When you got a goalie like
Prism, you're right on that. Absolutely, Prism, you're right on that.
Yeah. So,
no, but you're absolutely right, Steve.
Yeah, it was one of these things, and really impressed by you got to be impressed by the kid, Mr. Carter Hart, because we have to start calling him that. He's becoming the man in front of our eyes here. A lot of people felt he was rushed into this a little bit too soon. We were throwing him to the wolves, et cetera, et cetera. This kid has proven everyone, wrong so many times. And, here we are where, he won his first playoff series. And, we got another intriguing matchup coming ahead. But I like the way he's playing. The only thing I would have to say concerns me, got to be a little bit more prudent on some of these lapses in defense and get a little bit tighter on the back end. Other than that, I'm really liking how they're playing. I called out the stars of this team last week. Jacob Voracek got maybe eat some crow, so absolutely, I'm gonna give him his due. He more than showed up this past week and showed why he should be here. So, I've been harsh on him. I gotta give him his due. He's definitely he's definitely one of these guys. Still would like some more for some of the other guys. JVR, I don't even know if you want him in the lineup at this point in time.
Well, I mean, it's going to be one of those matchup things and what they want to get done, right? He was in there yesterday. He's a guy that is not afraid to get in front of the net. You know what I'm saying? And when you're going up against a Carey Price and when you're going up against now as you move forward all these goalies going ahead, moving forward, you're going to need guys that are going to be able to play dirty in those dirty areas. Not play dirty, but be in those dirty areas. That was a lot of what I noticed, from a negative standpoint in the first series was I think we were trying to be too perfect with our shots. As we saw early on yesterday, all three of our goals were ugly goals. And it doesn't matter how it goes in as long as it goes in. So I don't think, I think we were trying to be too perfect because we were going up against Carey Price. And, instead of just trying to get pucks on net and then making stuff happen from there. And we started to do that. Kevin Hayes, his goal was, his goal wasn't pretty. His goal went off of Carey Price. Raffle got credit for another goal, but who knows if it really ever hit him. DK was around the area, you know what I mean? So it's going to be definitely interesting to see how they go forward. I'm a little concerned about the power play. We did get a couple goals, which is nice.
Remember when we got that 5-minute major, we made the most of that. Even though we didn't win that game, that has to be encouraging moving forward.
For sure.
That when they have to be called upon, they got 2 big goals.
You're absolutely right.
Yes, they need to be more consistent. We know that. But at the end of the day, you have to take that as a win right there, despite the L in that game.
Yeah, but their overall throughout the series wasn't good.
No,
you know what I mean. It wasn't good, and you're not going to be able to sustain. You're not going to be able to sustain a run deep for a cup if you're not effective on the power play.
And we've seen that with other Flyer teams in the past. Remember them Legion of Doom teams, how terrible they were on the power play in the playoffs. It was almost like they would disappear.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
So it's one of those things where they have to take note of that moving forward, without a doubt. They have to, as you said, if they want this run, they have to go and do it.
And touching on your Carter Hart, he did what he had to do. A lot of that doesn't shock me at all. Steven Strasburg out for the season for the Nats. He needed carpal tunnel surgery. It's like, what are you doing, bro? But Carter Hart didn't see a lot of shots, like actually vision-wise. He made a lot of saves, but there was also a lot of guys in front of him. You know what I mean? And that's going to happen in the playoffs. So it's good to see him still be effective at times and still be that guy because of how the playoffs are going to be. When he saw the shots, he made the saves, which is what you ask of him, right? And, even there was a couple games, obviously he got pulled at one game. Not all of them were all his. But
yeah, but I was one of the things where, like I was saying, the defense wasn't really helping them. They had that one where they had that nice little play where they shot it and caromed off the boards, and he got, he just really didn't have a chance on that one. So
yeah, the Flyers, they're 4 for 39 on the power play. 4 for 39, worst of any team still playing.
Yeah, so that's something they have to situate, and as
versus the Islanders, who are 6 for 38.
We're transition these Islanders right now, so let's kind of touch into that, and the man who knows a little bit more on the Islanders than we do, good friend of mine. We've been busting it up since I started doing the podcast thing. Joe, how we feeling today, brother? How we doing?
What's up, boys? Thanks for having me on here.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as the game was over, I had to hit you up, man. So we got to talk. We got to talk some smack a little bit.
I'm just happy that there's a team out there that's just as bad as the Islanders on the power play because I couldn't. The other night I tuned into a bit of the Flyers and Canadiens, and they showed the graphic on the screen about their power play, and it just blew my mind. I didn't think any team was even in the universe of the Islanders, how bad their power play has been. And it's funny around here for the past few years, Scott Gomez was the special teams coach, and he used to just get hammered. Just really, the fans would crush him. And then it's kind of like we all owe him an apology now because it obviously wasn't him.
Yeah, man, it's one of these things where sometimes you think, hey, it's the coach, and then you remove the coach from the situation. Like, wait a minute, these guys aren't just that great on the power play.
No, it's crazy. Like I said, when I saw the graphic, I was like, wow, the Flyers are just as bad as the Islanders on the power play. So let's see what happens in this one. Maybe one of them will break out.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun series. I mean, you guys kind of took it to us during the regular season. I think we were like 0-3, but I think only one of them was a heart one, and it was one of those games like we just had against the Canadiens where it was just, defense wasn't really playing that great, and allowed some soft ones in there, and V yanked them out of there. So, and the other two were against Elliott. So obviously, it's a different situation. I don't think they were really rolling at the point that they are now. So I think it's going to be a really intriguing matchup, and we get to renew the New York Philadelphia rivalry here.
Yeah, I think the Islanders were actually 4-0 this year, but like you said, it's almost like last season. Whatever happened prior to the COVID stuff, it almost, not that it doesn't count, but it's irrelevant at this point. So the Flyers were the hottest team out of the top seeds. The Islanders are the hottest team out of the qualifiers. So we'll see what happens. And it's funny because people that don't know who I am, like I'm an Islander fan, but I did live 10 years in Philadelphia. So if the Flyers are a team that I've always respected, and being down there for 10 years, they're actually a team I root for. Obviously not for the next week or two, but I like them, and if they do happen to beat the Islanders, that'll be the team that I'm rooting for the rest of the way.
So, what are some of the matchups that you're really going to be looking forward to? In this, as far as maybe some line pairs that you're going to look into some battles. Are you looking forward to see if you guys can crack the Carter Hart puzzle or not? What are you looking forward to, man?
Well, what a story that kid is, right? I mean, I don't really follow too much of the league other than the Islanders, but how could you not root for this kid? And for years, the Flyers had these amazing teams, but the Achilles heel was always the goalie. And it's like they would ice these incredible squads, and then they'd have a second-rate goalie, and you'd be like, "What's the story?" And I root for this kid. This kid is amazing. And like I said, not for the next 2 weeks, but what a story that is. The thing about the Islanders, as far as matchups go, the Islanders are the example of a team. There's really not a line or a player that you're going to focus on if you're the Flyers, because their best player, I guess technically skill-wise, you'd say is Barzal, but you can key on Barzal, and then the other, the rest of the line or the next line will pick them up because they don't have that one superstar player or that one go-to line. They really do play it's not the Islanders of old. What people have to understand is this organization went through a decade, 2 decades during the Milbury years and everything where they were a laughingstock. And since they brought in Lamoriello and since they brought in Trotz, it's a completely different environment now. And, they've all bought in. So, like I said, there's not, as far as matchups go, you can't key on one line. What I would look for, excuse me, really, like we were joking about, is if one of these teams clicks on their power play, I think that's going to help the other one, because they've basically both been doing it now without the benefit of a power play advantage. That's going to be key. So the other thing will just be to see how the Flyers will penetrate the Islander defense, because this is a defense-first team. The Islander defense is, I don't know, like I said, I can't say the best in the league because I don't watch a lot of the other teams. I certainly don't watch the Western Conference, but as a unit, they're tough to beat. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Flyer forwards trying to penetrate in the Islander zone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're going to see some more stuff from TK, from Hayes. We'll see some stuff from the leaders. I think what it boils down to is who's going to get the wonky goals, who's going to get the ones that from the odd angles that go through, or the ones that just kind of change directions and just kind of clips. Those are going to be the goals I think that'll make the most difference. I still like my boys in 6. It's one of these things where I just like the way Carey Price or the Carey Price where Carter Hart is playing right now. It's a thing to see, and the way this team rallies around him. Like I said, wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7 with these guys just because of the way that both the teams playing. But I just you got the hot goaltender, you got the hot team, you got the young kids coming up and producing. And you still have some veteran leadership around it. It's kind of a perfect storm. As I was sitting there saying a few weeks ago, this team kind of feels like that 2017 Eagles team where they just get a lot of the right pieces, kind of play into the right thing and just make a run. And that's kind of what I'm feeling with this Flyers team. So it'll be interesting.
I think we can all agree that. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm all choked up here. But the teams that are in the playoffs, that are left in the playoffs right now, they all deserve to be there. And these are the teams that should have come out of that opening round. And a lot of times when you get evenly matched teams, it comes down to the wonky bounces and the breaks here and there and all that other stuff. So that's actually a very good point. That's actually what it could come down to. I guess is Voracek still their key guy? Is he their star player still? I mean, aside from Carter Hart.
When you look at their veteran,
I forgot about Giroux.
Like Jacobs had a great series, and he really stepped up. I think he had like 7 points in that series or something like that.
Yeah, I think he had 3 goals.
Yeah, so
he kind of really kind of toned it up there, and then the way some of these younger kids are playing, like Travis Konechny, and Hayes right now, and even what you're getting at a defenseman, like people forget about Ghost was sent down and had all this stuff, and he's playing amazing right now on the defensive side of things too. So. And we got a lot of good young defensemen. Haig is playing amazing. He's, averaging almost like 2 block shots a game or something like that. So when you're getting stuff like that out of your defense, it's one of these things like, and me, I'm not one of these homer guys who just like, it's all Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think it's going to be 6 games, and it's just going to be a tough one, just like this last series was. It's playoff hockey, but hey, we're going to see how it all plays out. And like I said, me and you are going to have some fun over this next week, trading some barbs.
Well, we agree on the 6 games, that's for sure. But obviously, I have the Islanders winning. But let me give you a couple of guys to watch because, being here on Long Island, we're kind of like the little brother to the shitty rain. Oh, sorry, can I say that?
Say whatever you want, especially if it's against the Rangers.
We dropped them too.
Okay.
Say whatever you want, especially against the Rangers.
Yeah, so we're kind of always cast into that like little brother role against those shitheads in Manhattan, and but so I think a lot of times we're overshadowed. But the Islanders have a defenseman, and part of the reason why they are playing as well as they are is because a guy named Adam Pelech, who doesn't get a lot of publicity outside of this area, but if he was a Ranger or a Maple Leaf, you'd know a lot about him. And he was injured during the season, and it sort of coincided with a little bit of their tailspin. But with the delay and the restart, he was able to get healthy, and he's been unbelievable. I'm going to say he's a top 10 defenseman in the league, but nobody knows about him outside of this area because he's not a marquee name and he's not on the Rangers. But keep an eye out for him because he's definitely a game changer. And even a guy, it's funny, a guy like Nick Leddy, who everybody knows from Chicago and everything, he had a pretty average regular season. But so far in the playoffs, I think he was an unsung hero against Washington. So it really comes down to the defensemen. The defensemen are playing so well right now that Johnny Boychuk can't get back into the lineup. So that'll give you an idea how well the defense is playing as a unit. So, but definitely, for the fans out there that are interested in the guys to watch on the Islanders, there's Pelech. As far as the forwards go, J.G. Pajot, the guy they got from Ottawa, I mean, that guy he's so much fun to watch. He's electric. I think people may have seen the GIF that went around where he kind of like faked out Brian Boyle in the Florida series. The size discrepancy is Boyle's probably a foot taller than him, but Pajot, he's kind of a little guy. He's an exciting player, and and then they got their grinders like Anders Lee and Brock Nelson. Again, not superstar names, but they just get the job done. So, and of course, I'm gonna, me, I'm always going to plug Matt Martin, the fourth line, Matt Martin, Cizikas, and Clutterbuck. And I'm hoping again that Ross Johnston gets in the game. He got in the last game against Washington, and I'd love to see the big boy in there again and mixing it up. And I don't know if he watches it, but I'm a big fan of Nate Thompson. I hope he plays well, but not too well, obviously.
And Joe, you touched on it about the defense, especially coming out of here. As you said earlier about the Flyers, I didn't watch much of the Islanders pre-break, but obviously, tuned into them a little bit more down, through their first two series. Is that something that they've been all year, kind of, heavy defensive minded and making it tough to get clean shots through?
Yeah, I mean, there was a writer, a guy that used to write for one of the Tampa Bay papers. I saw it on Twitter. He was whining about the Islanders bringing back the dead puck era. And, I think when you have a Barry Trotz team, it's always going to be defense first. And it's sort of like if a free agent is going to sign with the Islanders, you have to know that if you're a forward, you're going to have to back check. You're going to have to play defense. And if you're a defenseman, your own end is the most important thing. So it doesn't matter who they have back there. That is exactly it. It really starts with them from the goalie out, and they're going to smother you. They're going to. I don't think I'd have to check this, but I don't think Washington had a shot on goal in the last 12 minutes of the last game. So
neither did the Flyers. So it didn't. The Flyers only had 17 shots in the entire game. So maybe that works out for us.
Maybe in the Flyers case it might, but yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be. You're not going to see the Oilers of the mid '80s with the Islanders. They're probably more akin to the Stanley Cup champion Devil teams, where it was always defense first, and it's not necessarily the most exciting hockey. But if they win, I couldn't care less.
No, absolutely. And you dispatched the Cavs or the Caps quickly. Was that expected from you guys? As a fan, did you expect it to be that easy, or did you expect maybe to go another game or two?
I got to be honest with you, and I guess it's easy to say now. I thought it would be this easy because to me, the Capitals, they're a top heavy team. Once you get past the Ovechkins, and I'll tell you what, every time Oshie touches the puck, I think it scares me more than Ovechkin, to be honest with you, especially in the playoffs because the guy's so clutch. But once you get past the first few guys on that team, and especially I didn't know this, they have some Russian goalie that was hurt. Holtby isn't what he used to be. And I'll tell you what, that Kovalchuk, he's stealing money from Washington. I don't know what he did in the regular season, but that guy was absolutely invisible in the playoffs. But yeah, I actually I didn't think they'd sweep them. I was a little nervous when in Game 4 because the Islanders they shit the bed in second and third period, but coming out like they did in that last game, that to me, if anybody wanted to scout the Islanders, I would definitely take a look at Game 5 against Washington because that is a perfect example of Islanders hockey nowadays. It was textbook Islanders hockey.
And then you had two series. You had Florida, now Washington. This is now the third series. At what point do you think maybe a couple of those extra games start to add up? Coming out of a break, do you think it makes a difference, or do you think that just it's the playoffs, they're clicking, everything's just still full steam ahead?
I think with all these teams, if you get a team that's going that maybe went 5 games in the first round and then 7 and 7 and 7, I think those may take its toll, but you'd like to think these are professional athletes and they just had a 3-month break of whatever it was they had, and now they're coming back. And at this point, being that it'll technically be their third series that they're getting into, they just got to be hitting their stride. Obviously, the nature of the sport is physical one. You're going to have your bumps and bruises, but unless a team is going 5 and 7 and 7 and 7, I don't see it taking its toll at all. But again, I'm not out there, but it's not. I hold this playoff series just as much as I do any other playoff series. Some people say, well, it's not like the other ones, but to me it is. But in a way, it's not in the sense that they didn't just play a grueling 82 game regular season and now they're in the playoffs. So, like I said, I think maybe by the finals you start to see it maybe a little bit, but then if you're in the finals, you shouldn't need anything to amp you up anyway.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So. There's my wife.
Who brought that comment up now?
As soon as I seen the name, I was like, "Yep."
She's actually she's a bigger hockey fan than I am. I love the game and everything, but I'll be honest with you guys that with the way that it's gone, where it's a lot less physical than it used to be, I've lost a little bit of passion from how I used to be as a fan. But my wife never has. She's a big sports fan. We met at an Islanders game, and she just bleeds blue and orange with this Islanders team. So it's funny though, when God forbid they go to overtime, she has to go in the other room and not watch it, and then she waits for me to either yell, come in the room.
Who's likely more to destroy a TV, you or her?
Her. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. So basically what happens is if a game goes to overtime, we usually watch it in the living room. And then if the game goes to overtime, she goes in the bedroom, hides under the covers, no TV on. And then if I yell they scored, she comes running out. Or if I open the door, I just go in and go. And then she knows they lost. But she's a great fan. She's the biggest hockey fan I know. She's the biggest Islander fan I know. So I'm actually glad she's watching. She's actually at the pool right now. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's a pool person. I'm definitely not.
I'm a New Yorker. That makes sense. You got Philly love. See.
Yeah, we both listen. That's the thing. We both love it down there, and I loved my time in Philadelphia. And like I said, if God forbid the Flyers do win the series, the Flyers are the team that we'll be pulling for. I actually sent an email to Zach Hill last night after the Flyers won, the PR guy for the Flyers, and just said, good luck. Hopefully you come home in a week or two. But if you don't, please come home with the Stanley Cup. So that's what I want. So.
Well, I hope we can do that for you.
Well, I hope, if it doesn't work out the way, if this series does not work out the way I want it to, then I was going to say I want to parade down Broad Street, but who the hell knows what happens now?
Man, they ain't stopping us. I'm telling you that right now.
Not for the Flyers. Not for the Flyers.
Yeah,
it's been too long.
They'll have to Crisco the poles, right, at Cotman Avenue.
Yeah, again.
They always do that as it is anyways, man.
Yeah, no, man. I tell you what, I miss Philly so much, and we were down there a couple of weeks ago. We had friends of ours, their kids graduated high school, so we went down there, and of course I had to stop at Wawa. I miss Wawa terribly, and I love Philadelphia. So like I said, it's easy to root against them when they're playing the Islanders, but if they win, go Flyers.
Hey man,
we'll just clip that right there. With the background.
Yeah, I know, right?
Go Flyers and just play that on loop.
Yeah, right. No.
Yeah, we're gonna send them to all your Islander friends.
Yeah, exactly. No, everybody knows. Everybody that knows me knows that I'll pump up. I get into arguments with people that aren't Islander fans. I'll defend Philly fans, and I always say, I like the Flyers. And
me too, Andrea. Me too. I have pictures from that parade, Andrea, that are freaking amazing.
Yeah, so
that Phillies parade was something else.
Yeah, I worked that day. She took my two sons to the parade that day. I was happy they were able to go. I was at work, but like I said, I like the Flyers. Only other team I care about is Winnipeg, believe it or not, because I know the GM. He's Kevin Cheveldayoff, used to be with the Islanders. But aside from that, it's Flyers and then nobody else. So, hello to everyone down there in Philly. I love your city.
I
your cheesesteaks.
I love it.
I also love a good cheesesteak. Even a bad cheesesteak, I'll take it.
Well, it's funny because up here, there'll be times where I'm at work or if we're somewhere and someone's like, I don't know, I think I'll get a cheesesteak. I'm like, you can't get a cheesesteak up here. You can't. Once you've had one down in Philadelphia, even a bad one in Philadelphia is better than a good one up here. And I try to tell that to people, and they'll say, "Oh, this is pretty good," and I'll go, "No, you have to get one in Philadelphia."
Yeah,
you just have to. And then once you have one,
it's like when you go to these airports, like you're in Chicago airport, it says Philly cheesesteak. I'm like, okay.
No. We have a place in Penn Station, our train station here, the one that I go into every day when I go to work, a Philly steaks place. And I'm just like, people line up there, and I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me. It's not the same.
Oh man, it's nuts. It's one of these things where if you travel and you see that and you're from this area, it's just like get out of here with that.
Well, I mean, it's like here. Like I think that New York, and I actually say Long Island, I think we have the best pizza. And I've had some good pizza down in Philadelphia, and I've had some awful pizza down in Philadelphia. Up here, even a bad slice up here is pretty good, where a bad slice down by you guys is god awful. But up here, the Italian food is excellent. The pizza is excellent. And but like I said, it's all geography. You come up here, you get good Italian food, you get good bagels. Down by you guys, cheesesteaks are second to none. I mean, just people have to do their research. I almost want to stop people in Penn Station when they're going to buy a cheesesteak and say, "Don't do it. Don't do it."
Yeah, Joe's gonna start his own protest right there.
Yeah, if I was going to protest anything, it would definitely be something like food. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it would definitely be a food protest, no doubt about it.
Oh man, Joe, it's always fun catching up with you, man. Best of skill to your guys. Not really.
Yeah, same here. But
we'll definitely do it again. Regardless of maybe we'll touch back on again next week. We'll see how everything's going, and as always, man, keep doing your thing. And people, if you don't know who Joe is, go Google him. I had Greg Google him beforehand. Just Google his name plus New York Subway. Have fun.
Oh, thanks, Steve. Greg, nice to meet you. And
you too, Joe. Thanks for coming on.
Anytime, come on Sunday or Saturday, and we'll shoot the shit some more. No problem. Thanks for having me.
And same goes for you. If you want me to come on and give you some, or one of our guys to come on and give you some in-depth stuff for some Flyers talk, let us know.
Well, let me plug my show then. If you listen to podcasts, I have a podcast called Coliseum Chronicles, The Penalty Box. Strictly hockey enforcer talk. It's Islander enforcers, but guys that they just have to have an affiliation with the Islanders. They could have played for other teams, and it's strictly fights. We talk fights, we talk enforcing, talk the job. No analytics, no fancy pants European stuff. So look me up on all your podcast platforms. Coliseum Chronicles, The Penalty Box.
All right, good looking out, Joe. You have a good one.
All right, you two guys, take care.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, you got it. Bye now.
All right, everyone. That was my man, Joe Lozito. Obviously, he's been he's definitely a fun guy to talk to, and definitely looking forward to the series. What were your thoughts?
I think he had Islanders in 6.
Yeah.
You went Flyers in 6. I, of course, going Flyers, and let's call it 6. I'll go Flyers. I don't care. I'll go Flyers in 5. Let's go. I'll go Flyers in 5. Just to be different from everybody. But I do more. I do more or less think it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. Obviously, as Joe talked about, and we just saw with the Island or the Canadian series. The defensive mindedness from these types of teams now in the playoffs is just going to ramp up. And it's going to be more a tough-nosed, hard-nosed, typical playoff series. But, of course, obviously I'm going to have my guys, winning the series at all cost.
Yeah, I think we got this. I think, like I said, it's going to be another hard-nosed hockey playoff series, especially, against, one of these teams against the New York Islanders. Like I said, it's not the Rangers, but they're still one of these teams who we have history with. Anyone who's a real Flyers fan knows they're just as much of a thorn in our side as the Rangers are. So
absolutely.
Let's not forget that. But now let's kind of transition here because we got the man with the beautiful mustache, my good friend Vince Pitchel. What's up, my man? How we doing?
What up, Steve? How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, brother. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling super good, honestly.
Vince, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah. First off, appreciate the time, man. Definitely. It's been a while since we caught up. A few years.
Yeah, of course, man. It's always good to catch up with old guys.
Yeah, I'm getting up there. Don't remind me. I'm going 40 this year. So, big win this past Saturday. You're able to get the job done. Local guy here for us, Jim Miller, was the unfortunate man who was on the other side of the cage from you. How did that thing go for you?
Honestly, it went pretty well. As you can see, I'm sure you watched the fight.
Yeah.
Went well. Game planning came out to a T. There wasn't much time to game plan for a guy like Jim Miller. But we focused on the things we thought were most important, which were going to be a submission attempts on me in the first round. So we practiced that. Came out good. Everything we worked on, he threw at us. So I was prepared in the fight, man. I was prepared.
Now, how often does that happen, right? You have a game plan, you go into it, and then it almost falls exactly how your game plan comes to, it actually falls that way. Does that happen often, Vince?
It used to happen a lot, and now like with these guys, it's a little farther in between, because at the level I'm at now, these guys are always changing and always adapting their styles, right? So it happens, but not as much as you want it to, right? Like,
yeah,
it's rough
sure.
like that, but unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah, man, it's that division is probably, you've been in this game a long time, and it's probably the deepest it's probably ever been over these last 2 to 3 years, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, the lightweight division is definitely the Shark Tank of the weight classes. It's got the majority of the guys in there, and the majority of the well-rounded guys are the really good guys, right?
Yeah,
so it's definitely the toughest division. But yeah, it's all good, man. I didn't come here to be a tomato can to get beat up on, right? I came here to beat up on these tomato cans. So
yeah, man, ate a nice little head kick from Jim in that fight, right?
Man, yeah, I can't. Man, I was a little surprised he ate that head kick, man. Like, the dude's an animal. That was a good solid kick I landed too, and I was like, I don't know. He just shot and took me down, and I was like, what the fuck, man?
It's one of those things where like, wait, shouldn't you be on the floor? What happened here? Because it's like it was like one of those times where you get to land one of those kicks, and it's like, do I get my highlight moment? Oh man, I just missed it. And that's what I keep telling people with MMA. It's about inches. If you were he's an inch this way, an inch that way, it's a clean knockout.
Yeah, right. And honestly, that was a clean kick I landed. It landed flush right across his head, right across the temple too. So I honestly don't know how he just ate that shit, but it was super discouraging for him to eat that. And I was like, fuck, now I got to deal with this guy on top of me.
Is it rough when you get in those, like you just sit there saying it's really discouraging that sometimes you get in those moments and you hit this guy with what a lot of people find it feels like a perfect puncher kick, and then you're in there with a guy like Jim and like, oh man, we're gonna go 15 minutes.
Yeah, honestly, so this fight coming into it, I was like, okay, I'm either gonna get a knockout, he's gonna sub me probably the first round, or there's gonna be a knockdown drag out between us right for the full 15. And so I was honestly more prepared for the war than anything, because I honestly didn't have I don't want to say I didn't have a lot of hope, but I wasn't really expecting to finish a guy like Jim Miller, right? Like, the dude's a beast. I think he's only been finished once, and it's by Dan Hooker. So
yeah,
I wasn't really expecting to finish him. Had I got the finish, right? Fuck yeah, right? Give me that bonus, Dana. But
yeah, exactly.
I wasn't really expecting it, honestly. I've seen Miller's a tough dude, and I was expecting to get a finish on that guy, honestly.
Yeah, he's one of these guys where it's like, if you get a finish on him, like you immediately should be given fight of the night bonus or something like that. Like, it's one of these things where it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, which honestly, I was a little pumped in the second, because I thought I feel like if I had a little more time, I could have got the finish in the second too. But it's like, man, you just can't. You never really know, right? And dude, to get a finish on Jim Miller would just be an exclamation point on top of that win, right? Like, that was a good win. I kind of stepped it up in the second, and then took it out in the third, right? He clearly won the first, but I mean, it could have went either way, right? Like, fights like that, especially with the judges.
I mean, that's one of the things we talked about it so many times in the past. It's one of those things, like when you go to those cards, like is that probably more discouraging than anything? Like, when you get to that moment, like, you guys don't know. Like, Rogan's talked about it so much. We've seen air fans and analysts talk about, you guys should have an open scoring where you guys know.
Kind of, but I don't think open scoring really changed the fact, right? It'll just make people be a lot more pissed at the judges for a lot longer of an amount of time.
Yeah, but you guys would be more aware, like you, like,
end, right?
but at least if you would be aware. Like, all right, like judge number 3 is basically, eating a sandwich over here. He's not doing his job tonight. But it also gives you guys a chance to actually have a grievance, so people who are bad judges can be removed.
Yeah, possibly. I feel like that would add some.
Hold them accountable, right?
Say this, like,
hold them accountable.
Some appreciation for the judges, and as aspect of the sport goes. I think that'd be a really good idea. But on the other hand, up until the point of let's say a judge doesn't give a fuck, right? And he's just scoring how he wants to score because you're like, you know what I mean? I'm the judge, fuck you, right? That's going to piss off a lot of fighters, right? And we're not the kind of people you want to fucking piss off.
But exactly, it would actually hold them accountable because you're going to get it from the public. You're going to get the backlash. The commission's going to have to get it, and then you're going to get the actual fighter who you're like, hey, you're taking food out of my mouth, dude. I just need 15 minutes of your time. Is that so hard?
Yeah, that's true. Because honestly, sometimes when I was looking at some of the scorecards, because I usually go back and look at the scorecards, and sometimes when I look at them, I'm like, what the fuck was this guy watching? Like, there's always like one judge that his scores are completely different from anyone else, and I don't know what the hell he's watching, or maybe he's just trying to create diversity in the scoring. But I see that shit sometimes, and I'm like, what the hell was this guy watching?
You must have been watching another fight because it wasn't the one that he was scoring.
Yeah.
We've seen, if anyone has been in the MMA long enough, we've actually seen pictures of actual judges, watching stuff on their phones instead of the actual fight. Yeah. I think one of them was watching it was like game 6 of like the divisional series or something like that.
Scoring the fucking fight off his basketball game. I wouldn't doubt it, honestly, dude. I wouldn't fucking doubt it.
It's happened before, but it's one of the things where I just think, like, if you hold them more accountable, it's one of these things I think over time it'll prove. But it's one of these things where, hey, it's given us something to talk about at this point in time too. But at the same time, you guys shouldn't have to hold yourselves the hostage to Joe Blow idiot who doesn't want to pay attention for 10 minutes.
That's true, but in all reality, I think the responsibility of that falls on the commission, right? Because they're the ones that hire the judges. So when they hire the shit judges, you really can't blame anyone but them, right? Like, do your fucking job so these guys can actually know how to do their job.
I wish we could hold people in office accountable like we're held accountable for our jobs. But hey, that's an argument and conversation for another day, isn't it?
Wouldn't that be a thing, huh? Make the king responsible for all those fucking people.
So Vince, what was that atmosphere like? Obviously, no fans. You know what I mean? Just the bare bones of who needs to be there. What was that like for you?
It actually wasn't too bad. It was just like the Ultimate Fighter. It's just like fighting in a gym. You know what I mean? Which we do every day. So
yeah.
Honestly, if I'm honest, I kind of liked it a little more. Like I was able to hear Jim's corner, and I was able to hear how they coached him against me in the fight. So it let me make adjustments to kind of fuck on his game plan a little bit. But like, I don't know. I kind of like it, right? Like, I mean, I definitely love the crowd more. I love the war cries. I love the excitement. I love the energy the crowd gives you. But man, the advantages that you can have when it's so quiet and you can hear the other guy's corner and you can actually hear how tired the other guy is really, really does play a toll in the fight.
Yeah, it's something we've asked a lot of our guests who've been in the cage or about to get in the cage. Like what are the thoughts on them? Like, what they're excited about it. So it's kind of cool. Like when you're able to kind of hear what they're trying to do to you, where you can kind of counter it or see where they're trying to say, like, pump this guy up. Like, hey, come on, we can get when you know that this guy's broken, it's even more.
Yeah, that's honestly like. I really enjoy the crowd more, but I'm just embracing it for now because it's actually not too bad of a change, right? To keep us fighting and keep us going, which Dana's done a really good job at.
I mean, the opposite is you guys sitting
awesome.
at home, and it's what you got to think. MMA was one of the few sports that was able to kind of continue to keep going through this whole thing, and a lot of people weren't too happy. Some had a lot of arguments to sit there and say that, but at the end of the day, you guys were still able to continue to do what you have to do to keep food in your table, keep the bills on. We all have bills,
and do it safely too, and do it in a safe manner that isn't really contaminating anybody else with COVID, right? So, I mean, anyone who's cries are just jealous, right? They're just jealous that we're out here fucking putting in work while they can. I don't really agree with the lockdowns and all this shit. I mean. I honestly don't really agree with the masks. Like, if people want to wear a mask, cool, but the forcing and the mandates is a little extreme to me, especially over what we already know for COVID, right?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I'm just embracing it and kind of just dealing with it for now. We all need to make that money, right?
Yeah, man. I'm in one of these things where I have to go in department stores constantly, so I have to wear some type of face guard. I got one of our gauges from our show, so hey, I ain't wearing a mask, but at the same time, it's still when you're confining yourself like that, it's never a good thing.
Yeah, and if I go certain places, I wear a mask too. Like I typically wouldn't before. Like I wouldn't wear it. Like if I go to the grocery store or something, I wouldn't. Or like if I go to the post office, I wasn't wearing it. But now I'm like, now that I got this fight, I'm like, okay, I want to fight again. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna try to make up for lost time. I've been wearing a little more just to prevent myself from getting contaminated.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird. I'm honestly at the point where I want to have just like a chickenpox party, right? And just give it it's like done and over with, right? I just want to get it over with. Because to me, that's what it feels like. I feel like it's something that everyone's going to get. It's not going to go away, right? It's not going to go anytime soon. But it's something that we have to build our herd immunity against. And
I'm kind of with you on that end too. But it's kind of where we're kind of stuck in at this moment. So we got to do what we got to do. Moving forward, like, you have anyone in mind? You would like to see on the next contract put on your table?
No one in particular, but I told Shelby, like, I'm ready to go, man. Like, my body's feeling great. I'm feeling healthy. Training's a little difficult, right? I'm having to tiptoe a little bit, and I don't have the intense level of training that I normally have, but it's pretty close up there. But whoever's ready to fight when I'm ready to fight, right? Like, I don't got anything really major. I had some sore elbows, I had a black eye. My right ankle is still a little bit swollen, but it's not too bad. I'm starting to see the bones in my foot again. So in another week, I should be back to 100% and then back training and look for another fight.
So are you going to be looking for something in the States, or are you possibly going to be one of these guys that might hop the pond and have your visa situated?
I mean, if they do if we got another Fight Island going on, which they might, because I'm not sure where internationally we could fight yet. Still, I don't think there's even a place we can yet, and that's why they have.
I think it's still going to be the island, probably.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind fighting on the island as long as we get to chill there, right, for a minute, and it's not like shuttle us in, shuttle us out, right, like cattle. Like,
yeah, if I'm going to the island, I'm hanging out there for like a month, maybe.
Yeah, personally, yeah, and that's what I do too. Like when I went to New Zealand, anytime I get a fight out of the country, I always extend my stay because then I want to travel around, right? I want to visit the country. I want to engulf myself in the culture of the country. I want to travel, right? I want to see things that I don't see at home, right? I want to see stuff. So I'm that kind of person. So definitely, if I get like a Fight Island fight, I'm gonna try to stay. But I don't know if they basically just shut us there to fight and then we don't get to chill and like do whatever because of restrictions, we have to fly back home. Then just send me to Vegas, man. Like 4-hour drive for me, right? That's easy money.
Yeah, man, keep it simple at that point in time.
Yeah, I don't got patterns and shit. So.
Did you stick around for the heavyweight fight, the main event, Stipe Daniel? Did you stick around for that, or did you roll out?
I watched it back at the hotel because, I fought. They shuttled me from interview to interview to interview. Like I couldn't even put my damn shirt on. Right, I'm doing all these interviews, and then right when I'm done the interviews, into the car, back to the hotel. So when I got to the hotel, was right when the Vera fight ended. I missed that fight, and I got to see the whole Cormier and Miocic fight.
What'd you think about it?
I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was. I'm gonna have to agree with the fans a little bit, and how it was like a lot of fans say it was kind of boring, but I don't want to say it was boring. I just want to say the guys are being a little more cautious, right? Like they each finished each other, and right now they're both playing it safe for that third one, right? I thought it was a good fight. It is what it is, right? It was a fight where neither man wanted to risk too much to lose it all, and so that's kind of what you get sometimes.
I think Stipe kind of put a little bit more out there. He almost got Daniel out of there. Daniel got saved by the bell a little bit.
Yeah, he did. What was it, the third round when he started rocking him? He was chasing.
I think it was the second or third.
Second or third, but yeah, right around there.
Yeah, he had him good in that round too. But
because it almost looked like a repeat of the second fight. It literally almost looked like that whole was about to replay out and the belt. Yeah, I think it was the second round because I think the third round is when the incidental poke happened, and that was also right at the end of the round.
Yeah, and I mean the eye poke definitely played a part in it, but.
He had already damaged the eye prior to that, but also you got to think he still had the 2 minutes on the stool to recover either way. So, Where Stipe, when he got hit with the eye poke, he immediately got hammered and got stopped. There's a different story to that one.
Yeah, that's true. But it's all in the ref, right? The ref didn't see the eye poke. You didn't see it as an eye poke. He saw it as a punch. So, I mean, that sucks for Cormier, right? Because that was a definite eye poke. But the ref doesn't get the replay like we do.
But isn't it kind of a wonky karma that, for somebody who complained that John with the eye poke and then he'd hit Stipe with the eye poke? It's kind of weird karma that in his last hurrah fight he gets hit with an eye poke.
Yeah, man, energy's a son of a bitch, ain't it?
Karma don't play, man. Karma don't play. She comes for everybody at some point in time.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, man. Like, I get chewed out sometimes, too, for like, kind of pawing out with my fingers forward. But if I'm honest, the gloves that we have, they don't really they make it hard to close our hands, right? They exchange.
Well, no, you also got to think because of your wraps, too. When you do the wraps, it's not hard to make it close. It doesn't make it easy to do. You're supposed to be open.
Yeah, but like the UFC gloves, they're brand new. They give us every time, and they're literally designed so that way they spread your hand open this way, not
that's what I'm saying.
Like concave it, right? But I think I have an idea about why they do it is because like if your hands are curved a little bit, you have more risk of like jamming your fingers and like pairing punches isn't so effective, right? Like you need your hands to be completely open, which I understand, but I don't know, man. It does create a little bit of an issue with the glove.
Well, it's also one of the things that maybe like there should be some talk about, like even if you're parrying or whatever, that there's something that should have a closed fist or something. So when you go out like that, you don't poke.
Yeah, but you don't parry punches with a closed fist, right? Like,
yeah, I know, right?
Open palm, you're playing mitts with it, so that there lies the gray area that fucking sucks that we have a problem with doing.
It'll never stop. It's one of those things that'll be a part of our sport, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to. It's gonna have to be a discretion thing, right? Like everyone knows it's illegal to eye poke, so it's just a natural discretion thing. Some people naturally do it, and you can't really help it. And like, fuck, man, eye pokes are gonna happen, right? It's just something we're gonna have to adapt to. It's almost like if you get an injury in a fight, right? You gotta fucking adapt. You gotta adapt on the fly and like compensate for that right away. Otherwise, you're fucked, right? You get your ass kicked.
Yeah. What do you think about Bader getting stopped and Fedor's new little prodigy going to probably be the new light heavyweight Bellator champion there?
Damn, I don't know. We'll see, man. Anything can happen in fighting, and shit. Honestly, proteges I think scare everybody, right? Like, it doesn't matter who the guy is. If he's got a little protege and the guy was a badass, like everyone's gonna put a little bit of worry and a little bit of wind behind him.
Yeah, man. It was one of these things I thought was funny because you seen a lot of hype sitting there. They were getting ready to pipe up Bader as the new light heavyweight goat since John's moving up the heavyweight and all this stuff going on, and then he gets stopped. I just thought it's kind of fitting when you start trying to put this media train out there, it kind of gets derailed.
Yeah, and that's why, man, you can't let like shit as a fighter, especially. We can't let that kind of shit get to us, right? We can't let media talk about stuff or let that get in our head and let that be the truth and that's inside our head, right? Because a fight is the ultimate truth, and a fight's not going to lie. And if you go in there with the wrong attitude or the mindset a little off, you're going to get fucked up.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the cage. Never lies.
Yep, it's unforgiving too. It's a very unforgiving son of a bitch.
Yeah, what do you think about that Anderson coming out of retirement? He's going to be going in there against Uriah Hall. That should be interesting.
Jeez, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like he didn't have that fire anymore, right? Like, why?
He did kind of seem like hit the last like 2 to 3 years that there wasn't anything interesting, but that style with Uriah Hall, like I think it's kind of a fight that everyone's kind of wanted to see since The Ultimate Fighter because they had that kind of style, and you also have to worry about it because of how he's been fighting lately. He's been kind of waiting to counter, and a lot of guys are still like, even though he isn't the great Anderson Silva of old, they've still been kind of waiting for him, and he's been kind of getting in these fights that not a lot of fans are happy to see. So it's kind of intriguing.
Yeah, because geez, man, it's a hard thing because with Anderson Silva, that dude was such a monster, right? He was such a devastating champion in his champion days, and he finished everybody. He just wrecks people. So now when he gets into fights, and I'm going to use the example of Adesanya and him, right? Like I want to see that fight because I want to see who's.
Yeah,
the same style, right?
That's going to be fun.
Right? They're fighting each other. But look what it turned out to be. It turned out to be kind of a shit show where neither guy finished each other.
You're waiting for them to engage, and they're kind of waiting for the other to engage, and we're playing this dancing match.
Yeah, and I mean, I hope it doesn't turn out like that, but you never really know, right? Like with two guys who have similar styles, that's why it's such a big saying: styles make fights.
Right.
And shit, man, depending on what the styles, and if the styles clash, they could either clash or they could either kind of just coincide with each other. And when they do that, their styles are boring, right? The fights are boring. They dance around, they stare at each other. They're both timid. No guy wants to go first because he doesn't want to get hit because the other guy's fucking gonna hit him, right? So. It's a scary thing, dude.
Yeah, man. When you get to that level, man, you always, you like a lot of us, the fans and people, like they really don't understand it until you get in there with some of those guys who have that power, and it's not. And then you have that aura about it. Like sometimes it's rough to kind of get in there and engage to that point because it's still happening. It's kind of like we're gonna kind of see it again. I don't know, maybe, hopefully. Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson kind of have this thing going on. We don't know.
Yeah. Which shit, fuck, man. I hope neither one of them gets injured, right? They're old ass men.
Well, no, I think the argument right now is money because I think the promoter pushed it back because they wanted to promote it a little bit more, and Roy had like some other engagements that he was kind of have to miss out on because of that. So I think that's kind of the only thing they were debating about at this point in time. But I'm with you, man. Let's make sure that they don't get injured. That should be fun. Exhibition.
I'm more worried about Jones getting injured, honestly. I'm not worried about Tyson getting injured. I'm worried about Jones getting injured because I mean, this is the way I see the fight. Roy Jones is going to be the guy that's going to try to pepper him right and not get hit. But Roy Jones has a very, very sketchy jaw, right? Like if he gets slapped by Tyson, he's probably going to do a flip. And Tyson doesn't got. I don't know if Tyson's got the guts to go like a full 12-round fight, right?
Yeah.
But if he
connects, they're doing. I think they're doing it. They're doing the 8. They're doing the 8-1.
Are they doing 8? Shit. And then they're 2 minutes, right? It's only 16 minutes, but that's a hard 16 minutes, man. Boxing, those guys put everything in every round.
Yeah.
I know. I'm excited for that though. I want to see that fight.
It's one of those things where, I guess, I think everyone's kind of expectations are kind of curved, but it's kind of a matchup that kind of everyone has wanted to see. So it has an intrigue to it, and obviously Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. That's just who it is.
Yeah, and he looks like an absolute monster again. Like he's been training. He looks like he fucking cracks pads. Like
and the one thing that never leaves.
He looks quick as ever.
Yeah,
but
at least hands-wise.
That's what I was about to say. They always say that the one thing that never leaves, the last thing that goes to the power, but he still has the speed somehow.
Yeah, and you know what? That's where Mike Tyson got a lot of his power from, was his speed. Like he was balanced, and he had just had this ferocious speed about him, right? This violent speed that brought a lot of his power to it. It wasn't so much he was throwing like big hard shots; it was just his speed and his connection, right? He's just such a violent bastard, man. Like when he throws his punches.
Yeah, and now we're talking about the heavyweights. We were already talking about Stipe. You spoke on John real quick. What are your thoughts on him moving up? And do you think he can do what he did at light heavyweight at heavyweight, or how does that play out in your mind?
Maybe, but he's already in heavyweight, isn't he?
I mean, I don't think he's actually competed at heavyweight yet.
No, he hasn't. No.
Oh shit!
He has officially vacated the title and all that, and then I know, his last opponent isn't kind of too happy about that because kind of feels like they owe him a run back or whatever. So he vacated the title. He's going up to heavyweight, and nothing's been announced yet. But he was talking a lot last Saturday night during the match, and I would imagine that he's trying to angle for a Stipe fight.
Honestly, I think Steve would do really good at heavyweight. He'd be a big heavyweight still, right?
Yeah, well, you got to think he wouldn't have to cut anything, so he could just whatever he walks around and be in shape at.
Yeah, that'd be a little advantage for him, And I think he'd have better cardio than a lot of the heavyweight guys.
Yeah,
we'll see because John Jones is bulking up for heavyweight now too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. John is going to be something. That's what the intriguing match is going to be, is whether John can do what he did for all those years at light heavyweight at heavyweight.
I honestly think he can. John Jones, he fucks up a lot, right? Like he makes a lot of poor life choices. He's fucked up a lot. He's got issues.
But in the cage, he's still almost unbeaten.
Yeah, dude. He's just a freak of nature, and honestly, I feel like he's probably the GOAT of all time, right? In MMA.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it's just his natural attributes, man. He's just gifted with such good talent and such amazing like gifts, like his leverage, his strength. You know what I mean? The way he's physically aware of himself. He has a lot of natural attributes that I just don't understand. I don't see anybody really beating him, and you know what I mean, until he's honestly older or just doesn't give a fuck about fighting anymore, right?
Yeah, but also he hasn't felt them heavyweights, them real heavyweights yet. So if someone really puts one on his chin, we don't know what could happen.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true, and I mean he has taken some shots, right? Some pretty decent.
Oh
shots
yeah, absolutely. He's taken some shots that probably should have put him out. And
yeah, but definitely
he's
not.
been durable so far.
We'll see if he gets in there with someone that's got just beastly hands, right? Like Ngannou, or gets hit by someone like Ngannou or Rosenstruck, or shit, even the Beast, right?
Yeah,
like,
man.
Those guys got that ability to just put.
They hit hard.
I really hope they don't really like just throw him right in there and go give him the Stipe fight. I hope they give him somebody like a Derek Lewis or somebody like that to kind of get him into that title picture, because I mean,
yeah, but
as much as he deserves to kind of get it, I think you should kind of let it go that way.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think that if he really wanted a title shot, they should probably give it to him. Jones. I mean, he's destroyed everyone at light heavy. He's redeemed himself. You know what I mean? His only loss was to Matt Hamill, and it was like a DQ loss because he kneed him while he was down or something. I don't remember exactly.
No, 12-6.
I was out. Oh yeah, that's right, 12-6 out. But you know what I mean? So, fuck, man.
He hit him with a 12-6, but what happened was when John took him down, Matt had dislocated his shoulder. So like as soon as he hit him with the illegal strike, he said he couldn't continue because of his shoulder. DQ.
Okay, I see. Wow. Okay.
That is really interesting. Not a lot of people really know that fact about it. Is like if people remember, he posted up when John took him down and dislocated it. So like as soon as he stopped the fight, he pointed right to his shoulder like, "Hey, I'm done."
Yeah, I didn't know about the shoulder thing. I didn't know about that. See, that's a variable, right? Another variable no one knows about.
Yeah.
Which shit, technically, John won that fight, right? Because he couldn't continue.
So technically, yes. He might could have won via injury, but unfortunately, he hit him with a legal strike right after the injury occurred, and that's the way it goes.
Well, fortune of events, right? Fortune of events.
The sport is brutal, regardless if it's your fault or not.
Yeah, that's true, man. Doesn't give a fuck, right? But I love it so much, though. It's kind of like that crazy bitch you don't bring home to mom, but you like to party with.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love you, Vince. you always got you bring the interesting quirky response with
I like that.
But, anything else that you're doing right now before you get ready to go into anything, or like you doing anything like besides your fighting? Are you like doing any charities or anything like that right now?
No, I've done a little bit. Like I've helped friends here and there. Like I've helped friends that own stores, like watch their place, make sure people didn't fuck it up and whatnot. But I'm pretty quiet about my charitable stuff that I do. I help people that I could actually help that are around me typically. This is gonna sound kind of bad, but typically I don't like to join charities because I feel like a lot of charities kind of abuse it, right? Like,
yep.
Like they're there for good, but they abuse a lot of it too, right? So I don't like to really.
Yeah, well, no, you also like I know a lot of fighters, start up charities through their gyms to kind of make sure that stuff happen. Like you see Cyborg, all the stuff that she's done, like with her pink belt programs and stuff like that. Like some fighters kind of build their brand and then do their own charities through their brand.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking about doing too. Is I want to start doing like a technique channel and stuff, and kind of just give out some of my knowledge, some of my fighting experience, right? Because I feel like I have a little different aspect as far as fighting goes than most guys. I didn't come from traditional fighting or martial arts, right? I came from just fighting in the streets and fighting to survive, right? So that was my talent. So I'm looking to definitely do something like that. And then what I want to do is actually help kids. You know what I mean? Because I was a troubled kid on the streets, right? I was a fucked up kid. I was doing heavy drugs by the time I was like 14. So I was just like running the streets doing shit I shouldn't be doing, right? But it's what I had to do at the time. or what I felt I had to do at the time. So I want to do some program for that, helping kids, you know what I mean, that don't really have anything or that want to get into fighting or don't have anything to do, like maybe sort of like an after-school program, right? But get them into fighting, get their head on their shoulders, get kids like the confidence and the skills to really fight out in the real world and don't you know what I mean, just to be a self-confident individual, right? And to learn that, because there's a lot of kids now, I feel, that they're not really taught that anymore, right? They're not taught how to deal with such hard times and how to deal with life, and unfortunately a lot of kids don't realize how fucked up life is and how it just doesn't give a shit about you, right? Like, you got to keep going on.
Apparently, you made somebody money on your fight. Apparently, we got a thing in here in chat from Legal Freak. Tell him thank you for winning me money. I took him on a live bet after the first round. You know, man.
Let's go. Where's my cut, motherfucker? You know what's funny is I got a few messages, actually, people that made money off me. So like, thank you, right, for betting on me. But my favorite ones are the hate mails, man. People, I've got this one that was literally like, it took me a good couple minutes to read. It was just talking shit. You fucking piece of shit. Fucking this, fucking that. What did he say? Damn, what's the term I'm looking for? He had like he took like a group bet, and I was
a parlay.
A parlay, yeah, a parlay. You fucked up my parlay. Talking shit. I hope you fucking die, you piece of shit. I was like, damn, okay. This guy must have bet some fucking. I hope he didn't lose his house over this shit. Fuck.
Hey man, it's one of those things. Like, if people don't know, like, MMA Twitter is brutal. It could be the greatest place in the world at times, but oh man, some of the people there are just miserable. Oh.
I still get hate mail for my loss too, me getting signed on my head. People still send me hate mail talking shit about that. Talk shit about the Gillespie fight that I lost too, but it's like, oh my god, you don't know shit.
Like you can troll, like, man, if I would have won the fight, I would have won it. God damn it! Like, you think I wanted to get an L there? I wanted some more money that week.
Oh shit! I'm only half the money because I lost. It's bullshit.
People don't really understand that about fighting, because like, you guys get show and win money, so it's like it can go one way or the other for you guys, and then you have to pray the good graces that you also get a bonus on top of that, and then it's a tricky thing being a pro fighter in combat sports.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's why when people talk shit about the UFC, like some fighters will talk shit like, oh, they don't fucking pay me enough for yada yada. Honestly, that's just poor business tactics on their part, right? Like, I get taken care of well by the UFC, man. They pay me good. I think I get paid very well for what I do, right? Like, of course, we all want more money, but the UFC takes care of us very well. They have that PI, which is free for us, man. Like, I mean, if I lived in Vegas, I basically would get free training and free food, like, all day, every day, right? Like, so I don't understand how anyone can not appreciate all the stuff the UFC does for us as fighters. Like,
I mean,
we could get more money, but
in some senses, I think what it is where it's probably the top 5% plus, the handful of guys like you who grind and do what you're supposed to do get taken care of. But some of your tweener guys or guys who haven't like, and some of these fighters who also are hype trains and feel like, hey, I should be here, I should be there, and maybe they are, maybe they shouldn't be, but you see cases where, like, fighters leave, like Paige Van Zandt left, and she was fighter pay and came up, and I really kind of don't feel like she really had anything to say to it, regardless if I like her as a fighter or not. I just feel like she had that foot to step on. There's plenty of other fighters who've spoken up over the years who I felt has a leg to stand on. So it's like one of these things where it's an interesting topic that we continue to talk about. But at the same time, it's it's something that we're always going to talk about at the end of the day.
Yeah, and me personally, that's why I say it's a business thing. Like when we negotiate contracts, like, we negotiate contracts for ourselves, right? That's our money, that's our well-being, that's our livelihood, right? So when a fighter will negotiate a contract, and let's say they have 2 good fights, right, on a 4-fight contract, and then the fighter goes, well, now I feel like I need this much money because look what I've been doing, right? It's like, well, I mean, the UFC is going to agree, right? Like, yeah, you do deserve more money, but then all of a sudden they're going to be like, listen, you're in this contract, you negotiate this fucking contract, so, like, you made your bet, right?
No, but where I'll say something is like, all right, where they're trying to ask a guy to take a short notice fight, and you want them to fight for a title on their existing contract. Well, I think there should be something put in place that no matter what, if you're fighting for a contract, no matter what, you should get a $100K show bonus, just a show. to fight for a title. It should be a life altering event. Period.
Well, the UFC does usually do that, right? Like,
but not in all cases. Like go back and look. I think it was. I mean, it's kind of prior to the new change, but go back and look when I think it was Sarah McMahon fought Ronda Rousey. Ronda made $100K and Sarah made like $12K. The discrepancy in that is crazy. I think no matter what, if you're fighting for a title, it should come with a certain dollar
like,
amount.
you have to think also, like, Sarah McMahon was in her contract, and how many fights did she have before she got that title shot?
I think it was only 2 or 3 fights or something like that.
Yeah, so technically she probably could have argued for more money, but who knows? Maybe Sarah McMahon was like, "No, I don't want to do that because I want to beat Ronda, and then my next contract, you're gonna fucking pay me a shit ton of money, right?" Like, because I've done that too. Like when I fought Roosevelt, he was the last fight on my contract, and Shelby asked me if I want to negotiate, and I was like, "Nah, let's just hold off." And then he's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Let's wait. Let me start this kid, and then I want to have more buying money for my next contract." So he's like, "All right, cool. I can respect that, right?"
That's the game. Like people forget about that. You athletes, especially the fighters in the UFC, you all gamble on yourself daily.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to contract talks, when we're talking about your physical and mental and health well-being, all that, you guys gamble on a daily basis with yourself.
You gotta know your worth, but you also can't really expect too much, right? You gotta know your worth, but you can't overly expect, because that's when you're gonna get disappointed. It's kind of like getting your own hopes up, right, with certain stuff. Like you just don't do it. But I don't know. Like I do feel like we should definitely get paid more as a whole, because what we do, we're literally the most intense sport there is out there. Like,
yeah, and that's kind of also where I'm going with it, because we all know at the end of the day, you guys are probably going to have some type of head injuries, point blank period. It's going to happen.
Yeah, either head injuries, some kind of body injury from surgeries and whatnot. Like we all, like there's a lot of fighters that have been compensating in their life because of some kind of injury, right? That they're lasting with for their lifetime. And so, like that's why I do agree with it. We do sacrifice our lives, right, for our livelihood and whatnot. And shit, when we're done fighting, we could be a crippled piece of shit in a wheelchair for all we know. But
I mean, what was it? Mark Coleman? Didn't he have like 2 hip surgeries already at this point in time?
shit, possibly. I just had a hip surgery last December. I've had both my shoulders done. I've had surgery on my face a few times. So you know what I mean? Like it's kind of part of the game, but it's a high risk, high reward, right? Like I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I wouldn't trade this for a safe life, honestly. I'd rather risk my life every day and enjoy myself than be comfortable and not really live my life the way I feel like I should have been living it.
And man, that's the way we have to live it, man. It's why I love you, Vince. You know, you just keep it real 100%. You're one of the true real dudes out there that's left in this world. So it's a rarity, and it's one of the reasons why I enjoy these conversations we always have.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, honestly, I try to be real with myself above everyone else, right? Because fuck, if you're lying to yourself, shit, you really don't got shit but lies, do you?
Yeah,
hey, man. We like keeping it 100, and we had Shamrock on here, and we like keeping everything 110%, right? Doing everything at 110%, doing everything at balls to the wall. That's how we do it, brother.
Exactly, man. If you're not putting your all into it or all your passion, what the fuck are you wasting your time for then? Just wasting time.
that's for sure.
You're stealing my oxygen. Because there's so many people in that world that you're stealing my oxygen right now. Stop it. Get out of here.
That's all right. I'll share it.
So
had a good time. Super good fight for me. It worked out just the way I loved it, right? Just the way I wanted it to, which is fucking awesome. I'm in super high spirits. I'm still super pumped on this fight. I almost wanted to like I'm gonna go celebrate tomorrow with Coach and a couple of buddies, right? A couple of the gym partners and whatnot. But shit, man, as much as I want to celebrate this because it's such a huge fight for me and such a huge win, I gotta get right back at it, right? And get that fighting. I got a lot of time and a lot of fights to make up for.
yeah, it's rough when you have these dry spells because of everything that's going on. So it's you got to take everything when you can get it. So if you get something else lined up, hopefully we can get you back on here. Talk some more fisticuffs.
Of course, man. Yeah, and I already talked to Shelby too, and I told him I want to fight again by the end of the year. So he's like, "Get healed up. Let me know when you're in the gym." I was like, "Cool."
Nice.
So be on the lookout. I'm gonna be fighting again by the end of the year.
Greg, anything you want to throw back to Vince before we get ready to let him go upon his day afternoon?
Nah, I just want to thank him from everyone here at A2D. Thanks for your time, Vince. Appreciate the convo.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
And yeah, Vince, and you know I always wrap it up before we send you off on your way. Anyone you'd like to thank, send some love to, you know, anything you want to say before we send you on your way, I'm yours.
Yeah, thank you. I want to just shout out my social medias. They're all the same. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I got a Twitch channel too. I stream. It's all from Healthy Shell. Huge shout out to my sponsors, Smoke Buddy, Miss Mary Jane's, and Rev Gear. I've been with those guys forever, you know. They've been a lot of support for me through these trying times right now, especially with the way the world is. Huge thank you to my coaches, Brian and Petey. I've been with those guys since the beginning as well. You know what I mean? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so we haven't broke yet. Also, I want to thank all my training partners, everyone over at Street Sports City Valley, everyone at City of Thong, LA, everyone at Peterson Grapplers, everyone at House Champions, everyone that helped me get ready for this fight and prepare. Thank you guys. Everyone that bet on me, thank you and you're welcome. Expect my cut. Everyone that didn't bet on me, sorry about your luck, man. Don't be dumbass next time.
All right, man. Appreciate the time as always. You know, congratulations on the recent win, and you know we'll be in touch as always. You enjoy your afternoon. Again, thanks for everyone over here for your time, and have a good one, man.
Thank you guys. It's good to be here. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Vince.
Likewise, man. See you, Vince.
Hey.
All right, everyone. That was Vince from Help the Shell. He's always fun. He's got the hockey stash going on, right?
He does. He's got a great stash going on.
Oh, man, you got to love it. I think when he was talking about doing the scrum, I think that was mostly what everyone was talking about. Like Vince, the mustache, where did it come from? I had to start off with that. It's a beautiful thing because he's normally, like, if anyone watches any of his, he's normally clean shaven. So
right, yeah.
I had to mention it because, like, normally when I speak, like, it's an odd thing for me with him too.
Well, you probably, like everybody else, probably grew it out throughout the lockdown and everything, and then it was just like, screw it, I got all this. Let's make it fun, right?
Yeah, I mean he's a fun guy. Spoke with I think probably about 3 or 4 times over the last like 8 years or so. So awesome guy. Tough guy, well-rounded guy. Definitely one of these one of the grinders of that division. So interesting to see what happens for him moving forward. Hopefully he starts getting some of the names that as we get into more of the rankings there, and he can kind of make a move, see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we kind of ran a little bit over, so we kind of missed on the Phillies stuff.
Nothing to talk about. We're good. There ain't nothing to talk about. They stink right now.
No more Pivetta. They gave up on another prospect. Bring in.
Did they though? Did they give up on him? I mean, he had his chance. You know what I mean? Like, and it's funny. I joked in a group chat last night with the guys on Agree to Disagree, and I was like, now Vince Young's going to become that Cy Young prospect that everyone thought he was going to be, just because, again, it's just going to be another guy that leaves Philly and succeeds, right? It's the way we do it.
I know. That's why I said it. It's going to be one of these things where like, it's going to be the Ryan Sandberg thing where, like, you traded Ryan Sandberg and became, one of the greatest freaking second basemen of the last century. Okay.
But I'm good with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He obviously needed a change of scenery. He got his real chance with Gabe, where if you didn't make it with Gabe, then you weren't going to make it with Joe, right? And, when you bring Brian Price in, you bring Joe in, you bring baseball guys in, and you still can't do it, then it's time to move on. And the other side of it, too, is I think there's 4 teams right now that are more than 3.5 games out of the playoff spot, right? It's Boston, it's Anaheim, it's Seattle, and it's the Pirates. So those are the only 4 teams that are really willing to deal right now, because everybody else still has a chance to make the playoffs with the new format. So you were kind of you were stuck in a hard place with who you could trade for. And then
you put yourself in a situation by not addressing the reliever situation in the first place.
No, you're absolutely right. And then just the other side of it is to make a deal, you have to have two teams that want to tango, and you might have to give up something. And unfortunately, that was Nick. Or maybe fortunately that was Nick, right? Maybe he's still got a little value to his team.
You would hoping it was someone like Vince instead of Nick, but
Well, I mean, if Vince is still at least still here, you know what I mean? I mean, Pivetta he was buried and then deactivated. You know what I mean? So like there was nothing else.
I think that thing is more of an upstairs thing instead of a physical thing.
For who?
Pivetta.
Yeah, I don't disagree necessarily.
And I actually think that this actually might help him more than anything. And
it probably does. It probably does. It allows him to restart, right? It allows him to restart, reset, and see what he's able to do. And hopefully for the kid, he's able to bounce back. You know what I mean? We don't ever obviously wish any, ill will or harm on anybody. He just wasn't very good here, although he had every opportunity to be.
And you expecting anything from these two relievers that we just brought in?
Let's be real. We can't get any worse, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we brought in three relievers yesterday. The guy from the Yankees, David Hale. You got
two guys from Boston.
Two guys from Boston, Hembry and Workman.
Yeah.
They're pros. I mean, they've done it before. I don't think Hembry is really that great. But again, they're at least pros, and we're not relying on a bunch of young kids that have never done it before. That I think it was the mistake. You can have one or two of those guys in your bullpen, right? You can have one or two of those. Hey, this guy's going to electric arm down the minors. Let's see what he can do. But you have to be centered and circled around a bunch of guys that can do it. And we found out this year that even some of those guys we thought could do it can't do it this year. So then it exposes the young kids even more.
And as much as I'm burying the Pitchel staff, there's blame to go all the way around. I mean, the outside of Ramuto and Harper, I can't really sit there and say on the other side of things I'm really impressed with anyone else either. I mean, Gregorius has been solid, but it's one of these things.
I mean, the offense is fine. Even with the struggles of Kingery, who looks lost, and Reese, who's starting to pick it up. I will say,
Kingery looks like he's regressed back to a 2A player.
He has. He doesn't look like it. He has. He has regressed. But you score 8 runs in a 7-inning game, you should win that game. You score 6 runs in a 7-inning game, you should win that game. So
here we are against.
It is all in the pitching. It is all in the pitching. It's completely on the pitching. When you have the top 5 starter ERA in baseball, and then you have a dead last relievers ERA in baseball, you cost yourself 4 or 5 wins just in that bullpen.
You cannot have plus 5 run leads blown. It's unheard of. And that bullpen's on a record pace, regardless of shortened season or not, to probably be one of the worst bullpens we've even seen here in 20 years.
Yeah, and what's funny too is I have a friend of mine who's actually been making a little bit of coin by betting on the Phillies to give up a run on the innings they score runs. So on your proverbial shutdown innings, he's betting on the other team to score runs, and he's hitting. It's just because it's going to happen. Every time it's going to happen. Especially if Velasquez is pitching. That is definitely going to happen.
Well, I mean, at that point in time, he should be your money bet right now because it's almost like – and here's the other thing. Jake Arrieta is just really killing us. He's just so – you cannot get anything consistent out of this guy ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna throw away Arrieta yet because that was just.
I'm not saying the wrong way. I need him to be consistent.
No, I mean we do.
If he could be just even moderately more consistent. I mean, his problem is more of the things he gets nipping at the corners and he gets himself into.
That's who he is, right? That's who he is. His first 2 starts, he was fine. He had a blip the other night, and hopefully he rebounds, right? I mean, that's what you talk about, that consistency, right? That's what we hope comes out. Was it tonight or tomorrow? So it's probably tomorrow because Wheeler goes tonight. That's what you hope comes out tomorrow or Monday, whenever he pitches next, is you hope he bounces back. Because you're right, last start was terrible. It wasn't very good. But we hope that
he was getting too cute, trying to nip the corners, and he started putting guys on, and he got his pitch came up.
No, absolutely.
Guys got it battling with him, and then he was out of there in like 4 innings. It's like he cannot do that to us. He has to give us at least 6. He has to.
No, I mean that's an ideal world, and you're absolutely right on that. So hopefully he's able to bounce back on his next start, and we're able to get that out of him. Let me see if I can find out when his next start is. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's but like you said, as a whole, the starting pitching staff has been okay.
But that's why I haven't even like they've been. It's still early. It's one of these things like you still have to give them time to kind of get their bearings. And even like I'm sitting there saying Arrieta, but it's because one of these things where it's been one of his things is like he'll give you a month where he looks like he's back in that Chicago Cubs uniform, but then you'll get these patches where it's just like he's killing himself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He'll throw Tuesday. Eflin goes tomorrow, so it's Wheeler tonight, Eflin tomorrow on ESPN, and then Arrieta Tuesday against the Nationals. And so far that hasn't been announced because that was probably a Scherzer spot. I would have to think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not Scherzer, Strasburg.
I know what you're saying. They're saying
as our wonderful producer Ralph threw up earlier in the show.
Well, I bet you he's happy.
Yeah, his Lakers finally won a game. That was a no-brainer though.
They were gonna bounce back for that. Come on, listen, we know they're gonna win that series.
Next 3 are gonna be tough though. Let's go, Trailblazers.
Yeah, but isn't Dame a little compromised right now? He's dealing with a hand injury.
Just a finger. Chop it off. It's playoff time. Hockey players would.
Yeah, man.
Not this soft ass NBA though. My finger.
And speaking of which, are you surprised Gallagher did try to get a chance to get out there, or was just too soon? He couldn't get out there?
You can't mess around with a broken jaw. You know what I mean?
We've seen guys do it in the past, but it's normally probably after a week's gone by or something like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's so tough, just because of the physical nature of the game. You know what I mean?
I think it's funny. Afterwards, all the memes were sitting there seeing, watching Lee's fans thanking us for shutting his mouth on him. And Kirk Suzuki, I promise you, next season when we see them, is going to have someone run at him for that for him being a little Mr. Chippy with Mr. Hart after that bell rang last night.
Yeah, well, we got the final say. We won. Yeah,
I know, but still, listen, dude, you got patted on the head, and then you start to like throwing chops at our goaltender. Eat one, dude, you little.
But that's a great thing about the NHL, right? That was right there at the end of the game. And then what happened? You get into the handshake line, and it's all squashed.
Yeah, but it was mysteriously missing someone, wasn't it?
Was he not in there?
No, Suzuki was. Their big C wasn't.
No, he led the line.
Oh, I thought he wasn't.
No, he's the first one down.
All right.
No, he led it. Shea Weber led
it. We'll see them again. That's a team we'll see again. Bouncing back regardless. What happens with the next series with the Islanders or anything going on. That's a team we'll see again.
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely looks like Carey Price still has some more miles left on the tires. Still.
Well, Prism in here said that Carey Price was already talking about the Canadiens in a past tense. Saying how he enjoyed playing with Suzuki and bringing him on, and so it sounds like he's already moving on. But I think even so, that was happening through the year. But then when you come to the playoffs, you go put your horse in there, and he got them to where they were going to get to. Right, they weren't going past here. Yeah. Even if it would have taken 7 games, they weren't getting past here. Flyers played too well at home. They wouldn't have lost this game 7 at home. Oh, wait, sorry. We're still in the bubble.
Yes, we're still in this weird COVID universe.
Don talking about his starters, Casey Mize, number 1 pick overall recently. Hopefully he does pan out for you guys. He's pretty good. And then he says, how do you guys feel about Minnesota getting the first pick of the NBA draft?
The NBA draft is rigged, so really I wouldn't have been surprised if Golden State got it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, Golden State was terrible, so I wouldn't have hated it. I think it just eliminates one guy. I think it eliminates Wiseman. The other two guys, to me, are in play for Minnesota, whether that's LaMelo or you go Anthony Edwards from Georgia. It just depends on where they want to go. I would think they go Edwards just because you have D'Lo, and you have some of these other guys that can play the point. So I don't know if they necessarily go Melo, Ralphie's little stepbrother. But, I think Anthony Edwards is just as impactful of a player. But I think at one or two, or, either one of those two, they're going to have to decide, obviously, where they want to go. I think it's Edwards. That's just me.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that either, where Minnesota's going with that. So, yeah, I'm with you there, Greg. I really don't see it. LaMelo, yeah, don't see them going after that one either. So, that's – hey, man, not disagreeing with you there, brother.
Yeah.
Minnesota, you're gonna have to make this one pay now. That's because I don't think you can be given any more gifts than you've been given so far. So
yeah, and they're not going Wiseman because they have Karl Anthony Towns, so you're not going another 7-footer. The only way they would do that is because Wiseman isn't
do stupid stuff like that.
No, you're absolutely right. And they would probably be like, oh, well, Wiseman doesn't have an outside game, so we can put Towns on the outside and let Wiseman play on the inside. But I just don't think Wiseman is the smart choice for Minnesota. I think it comes down to two, or Edwards or Melo. And Ralphie's going to do everything he can to get Melo not in Minnesota. And Ralphie will become whoever fan LaMelo goes to.
Oh, man.
That's his brother.
So that's his heartthrob at the moment.
Yeah, probably.
Oh man, Ralphie. Why do you have to go after these weirdos?
Don, I want the Sixers to take anybody that's good.
Yeah, a wing who can make a difference and take big shots for this team, because it's what's sorely missing.
It's all good. I mean, we're gonna pick 21st because that's just where we are. That's the OKC pick. Who knows what's available there? Somehow Boston got a lottery pick again. So Boston gets 2 first-rounders again. So another kick in the nuts. They're gonna sweep us tomorrow, and then they're gonna get 2 first-round picks, and we're sitting there at 21. So. And we wound
up with Markel Fultz. So
yeah, I mean, I would like a pure point guard, maybe a pure shooter type of thing too. At 21, you're not really getting too much of an impact. I mean, obviously you could steal somebody there, you know what I mean? Find a gem, but 21, you just want someone that could come in with a skill set that could contribute right away. We see Shake is okay, he's good, but he's not great, and then we don't have that secondary shooter at either the guard position, especially if Ben's going to play outside. And we need a guy that could stroke, and we don't have that. Bryce, what up, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised also if maybe they address that in free agency and maybe go after a guy like Zach LaVine or somebody like that, somebody you could put the ball in his hand and make big shots.
Yeah, Zach LaVine's a guy that doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of money in free agency because of the 4 guys that we have. So you can't.
But that's the way I also think that you could try to make some things happen that way. I mean, he's not the future answer, but he's enough to get you over, and especially when you don't know with who might or might not be the next Sixers coach, which direction they may or may not be going. But
see, you have to realize too, though, Ben's contract jumps next year, right? That's when his contract kicks in. So you're going to have 4 guys making $27 million or more. Al, Ben, Joe, and Toby. There's no room in free agency. That's why you have to start finding some of these guys in the draft that address these needs, because you have to get them and be able to lock them in, because the way the NBA works, which is why we were able to sign Ben, sign Joel, sign Toby, is you're able to go over the cap for your guys. But that doesn't mean we can go out and get somebody else in free agency because we don't have any money.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, Bryce, Sixers are a joke right now. Flyers, we had a guy – we had an Islanders fan on earlier, Bryce. Go back and check it out. It was a fun couple minutes we had with Joe shooting the shit about this upcoming series.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a good one. Like I said, yeah, it's playoff hockey. Flyers in New York. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But I think the only other thing I want to throw out there, obviously, I spoke about it last week, was the giveaway that I'm working on for you guys. I'm also working on something else for as we transition into NFL season. I'm working on a big one for us. We're going to be I'm working on a signed jersey giveaway for our Eagles fans.
Awesome.
So that's going to happen sometime in the next month. We're going to get that done. But for the time being, reached out to Ron Jaworski's management. They had talked to me. We're going to be giving away a round of golf for 2 at any one of his area country clubs. So guys, go head over to my social media, or even I think the Weekly Roundup Twitter page. It should also be on there. Just give a follow to a couple of those accounts. We're going to be, I think, either next week we'll probably do I'll do one of the random draws from I think the YouTube videos. Maybe we'll just put a hashtag together, had it randomly pick it out. Whoever wins it, and we'll go about it that way. Just so there's no favoritism or anything like that. And I know we're also going to try to work some things out where some of our guys on air can get over there and plan it out and hit some balls and have some fun over there.
Don's got one last question.
Yeah,
Are
sure.
you guys concerned about the offensive line in practice? Don, it's practice.
Yeah, I was about to
I'm
say.
not
Do we have to pull out the Allen Iverson? Do we have to pull out
I don't even want to talk Eagles right now because it just doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, that's why I haven't even brought them up. It's one of these things where we're still in the infancy phases of
it's training camp.
I just spoke about Eagles just because of the simple fact that we're gearing up for the season. We're not ready to talk about Eagles. It's practice. It's practice.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, let's anoint the Eagles offensive line the next coming of the freaking steel curtain. Is that what we're doing? I mean, come on, it's practice. It's still early. These guys still haven't gotten really into football shape yet, so you're going to have some nonsense going on. There's guys I seen a Cowboys fan going off. Oh, D. Slay's going to shut down Cooper Rudd. Talking about the videos from practice and again, it's practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one's trying to do anything. You're just trying to get through the motions. You're trying to get back into shape. You're trying to knock the rust off. You're trying to make sure you don't have any soft tissue injuries as we're leading into the season. That's why they've already shut a couple guys down because they're starting to get some of those things. And better safe than sorry. Let's move on. We got. we got 3 months of football to get ready for.
Yeah, early on, I'm not too concerned about it, though, Don. As it gets later on, if stuff doesn't start changing as we get closer to the season, then obviously we'll start ramping up that concern level. But right now, it's at a negative 75.
Yeah, it's not even on my table plate to eat for the sports realm right now. We got so much with the NBA playoffs. We got hockey playoffs. Mixed martial arts is still going on. There's another event.
There's a fight in the Bucks game today.
Yeah,
Marvin Williams and James Ennis III, formerly of the Sixers, went back and forth a little bit.
Hey man, listen, everyone's a little scrappy. Speaking of which, like I said, UFC tonight. Frankie Edgar's going to be a bantamweight tonight.
Yeah,
a bantamweight.
Yeah, you talked about it, right? You had the Bellator card last night. I only was able to catch the last 3 fights: the Nelson, the Chick fight, and the Bader fight. And then you got UFC tonight.
Julia Budd is still a jewel, man. She can put people on their butt.
Yeah, she handled whoever they threw at her. She definitely did.
I really want to see her and Chris go at it again. It was sometimes when you get that rematch, sometimes you get to be able to do it. We were talking trilogies the last few weeks. Sometimes things change when you get in there. So be interesting to see how that plays out. And Julie's one of these fighters that, she's kind of already paid her due. So I would be surprised to not see that happen. But
yeah.
And, other than that, I think that pretty much – I don't think there's any other thing we could potentially even speak on. So, guys, just make
we're
sure
good.
Again, both our guests, Joe Lozito, my man Vince from Pitchel. Appreciate you guys for your time this afternoon. Appreciate everyone from the chat room. My man Greg from giving me some time to talk with me tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ralphie and the 1 to 2 back there hiding from us.
Guys, just real quick, whatever platform you're on, subscribe, get your notifications. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Especially, like I said, you're going to want to – anyone who's going to want to be a part of the golfing experience giveaway, you're obviously going to have to be subscribing to YouTube to be able to comment, etc. Make the hashtag whatever you're going to do to enter in. So, again, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, make sure you're also giving the subsidiary pages, from our shows, likes, follows, etc. Showing us love on all the platforms as we show you guys love too.
Absolutely.
But other than that, no, another fun one in the books. Greg, Ralphie, I think that's it, brother. I think we're done. We'll see you guys next week. We'll have another fun one lined up for you. So
thanks to our sponsors, Specialized Physical Therapy. You can catch them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com, Cherry Hill, Princeton, and Burlington, and of course, Ambuck Services, AMBUCKservices.com.